Alex Hormozi has grown his YouTube channel to 4 million subscribers. And if that wasn't good enough, he also used that audience to do a book launch that made him a nice $100 million in a weekend, which still blows my mind. Now, you might think the key to his YouTube success was some kind of genius YouTube strategy, but I looked at what he was doing, and after reading his books, I found that there's actually a very simple equation that is not only the reason for his YouTube success, but I think it's also the backbone of the businesses that he's been able to build. And once you see it, I think you're going to notice it in so many different areas. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down what that equation is, show you how to use it to make your own videos so valuable that people want to pay for them. So the equation has 4 parts, and here's part 1. So like any good marketer, Alex knows that his content has to be about his audience. Especially on the internet, no one really cares about you. They only care about themselves. But what Alex does is something very clever that makes this channel a magnet for his dream clients. He always answers the question, what's in it for them? And he does it in a few different ways. Because I see plenty of people trying to do this on YouTube, but they do it slightly wrong, and that's the exact reason why they aren't getting views. So let's look at one of his videos. So this video is called Building a $1 million Business for a Stranger in 26 Minutes, which is a pretty good title, by the way. But why do you think this video performed so well? And how does it answer the question, what's in it for them? Well, first off, I think it performed pretty well because it is pretty remarkable, but I think it also taps into the first part that Alex calls the value equation, the dream outcome. In your videos, you want to think about where does my audience actually want to get to, and then how can I help them get there? But very importantly, Alex also highlights this in the title and in his thumbnail. So the question to ask yourself is, just by looking at my title and thumbnail, do people know what's in it for them? Basically the dream outcome that you're trying to help them get. And the bigger the dream outcome, the more valuable the video is to the audience. But here's the issue. Anyone can claim anything. You can promise to make someone $10,000 in 5 minutes, but more than likely, they are just not going to believe you. And that's where the second part of the equation comes in. And this is also the element that has allowed some experts to start from basically zero on YouTube and get hundreds of thousands of views from the start. So let's look at another one of his videos and see if you can spot it. We have this video called 14 Years of Marketing Advice in 35 Minutes. Now, to be fair, this style has blown up on YouTube. Basically, they would condense decades of experience into a relatively short video. But there's a very specific reason that makes this video more valuable. To explain why, let me ask you something. Let's say you are getting some investing advice. So you look online and then you find this kid. And he says you need to do 3 things if you want to invest. Buy great businesses and hold them for a long time, never invest into something that you don't understand, and be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And then you're like, all right, maybe this is decent advice, but I honestly do not trust this kid, so it's most likely wrong. But you see another video right after that, but this time it's an interview with Warren Buffett, arguably one of the most credible people when you're talking about investing. And he says the same things. But now you're like, well, this is great advice. I'm going to apply it immediately. The second way to make your videos more valuable is to increase the perceived likelihood of achievement. Because the advice in the second video is coming from someone whose net worth is $141 billion, you're much more likely to believe that it's going to work for you too. And then the same thing works for Alex's video. Because he says in the title, this is 14 years of marketing advice, you know it's not just someone making stuff up. So not only do you want to call out the dream outcome, but then you also want to pair it with some way to increase the perceived likelihood of achievement. And there's a few quick ways that you can do that, even if you don't have a $1.1 billion net worth. First, talk about things that you have done. If you've done it, there's a good indicator that it can work. Number 2, talk about you doing it for other people. The more people you have successfully helped do it, the more believable your claim is. And third, and this is kind of an underrated one, make a longer video and give away your best stuff. I've seen a lot of these videos framed as full courses on YouTube do so well because some of them are like 6-hour-long videos. Because you see someone make a 6-hour-long video and you're like, they probably have the answer to my problem. Now, while these long videos can be super valuable, there's something even more important that instantly makes your video more valuable. The example that Alex always points to is related to weight loss, which makes sense because he was in the gym business for a long time. So which is more valuable, a gym membership or liposuction? Well, I looked it up, and the average gym membership is anywhere between like $10 to $25 a month. But for liposuction, it can cost anywhere between $3,000 and $15,000. Now, what's interesting, both of these are basically the same dream outcome, but one is significantly more valuable than the other. So why is that? Well, that's where the third element comes in. It all revolves around how much work is involved for the person. How much work is it to lose 50 pounds with a gym membership? Quite hard. You have to eat right. You have to train hard consistently for at least months, if not over a year. And you have to give up a lot of the things that you like. Pizza, yeah, you got to stop eating so much. Sleeping in, nope, you got to work out. Compared to liposuction, where you go in, have the procedure, and then you're done. The reason why it's so much more valuable is because the third element is effort and sacrifice. As humans, not only do we want that big dream outcome, but we also don't want to have to try too hard to get it. So in your videos, how can you take out the heavy lifting for them? In most of his videos, Alex is condensing years of these hard lessons into short videos that you can consume without putting in the work. The more simple and easy that you can make your videos, the more valuable it is to your audience. Which brings us to the fourth element. Alex says, good companies try to increase the first two, like the dream outcome and the perceived likelihood of achievement. But the great companies can create nearly infinitely valuable products by reducing the second two to nearly zero. And here's the perfect example of this. So imagine there was a pill that you could take, and as soon as you took that pill, you got six-pack abs. How valuable would that be for you? First, I think it would be quite valuable, but I want to go a little bit deeper. Why? Let's go back through the equation. So the dream outcome is those six-pack abs, a big outcome that a lot of people want. The perceived likelihood of achievement, all you have to do is take the pill, so the outcome is guaranteed. Effort and sacrifice, again, there's basically no effort or sacrifice. And the last one is time delay. You get it instantly. So to make your videos as valuable as possible, you want to increase the first two elements as much as possible, and then you want to reduce the second two. If you can make videos that help your audience get a big outcome quickly and without a lot of work, you're going to have very valuable videos. But I think there's one more piece to Alex's puzzle. Yes, Alex did have valuable videos, and I think that's one of the main drivers of not only his YouTube success, but also the other piece is the amount of volume that he's been able to put out. And that's why in this video, I break down a system for creating content 10 times faster. Because if you can create valuable videos and get them out on a regular basis, you can grow very, very quickly.